Hello, everybody. Welcome. We are live. Samir is with us. Samir is an immigration lawyer from Silicon Valley. And we are actually, before we get started, we're going to do a masterclass next week on Tuesday on profile building. If you on O1, EB1A, and national interest waiver, we'll probably talk more about it, but I just wanted to quickly mention that. Samir, welcome back.
Thank
We
you.
took a very tiny break. But is it a break from immigration?
It was yeah, you can call it immigration mental health break.
Right.
Yeah.
What's going on in the world of immigration? I know there's couple of things, but maybe you can kick us out from there.
Yeah, well, of course, all the talk is still about the $100,000 rule. We received no updates since that debacle of a weekend from the government. One major update of note is the consortium of interest groups have filed a lawsuit against the rule. And so that lawsuit's now been pending for a couple of weeks with the court. So that's a good sign. I mean, nothing really has come of it yet, but what's going to happen is their lawyers will ask the judge to kind of halt the the execution of the rule until they figure out kind of whether or not the rule is okay, right? So that's going to be the next step, and hopefully we see that happening over the next month or so, but we're not quite sure yet.
Have you since then have you done transfers and have you seen approvals, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, we had a short period to do transfers until the government shut down, and now we can. So, like, for a completely different reason, we have not been able to file transfers. But between the implementation, or between the proclamation and the government shutdown, we did get a few transfers approved.
Nice. Okay. And yeah, government shutdown. I completely forgot about that. So, what are the options for people if they're running out of time?
Yeah, I mean that's a problem. I think what's going to have to happen is right now the government's only guidance is that they can file late and seek retroactive. We call it a nunc-pro-tunc approval. So basically, just kind of give me retroactive status, and they said they'll approve it, but it's like, okay, we trust you. You said they probably will. I mean, this is something. This does qualify as kind of extraordinary, outside the control of anybody. So.
Got it. Okay. And then there was a news about H4 EAD. What was that about?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like the lack of news. The lack of news being the Supreme Court. You know how there's been this one group. I think they're called Save USA or some sort of. They've been trying for years and years and years, like almost 10 years now, to Save Jobs USA, to get rid of the H4 EAD. When you think about it, just like there's maybe 100,000 people on the H4 EAD, right? And you're like, there's just so much effort, time, and publicity around what's really just a very small issue, right? In the grand scheme of things. Yeah. That being said, it's all performative and political. But this group's been trying to kind of tank the H4 EAD through lawsuits for years, and they kept failing and failing and failing. And they finally got to a point where they could ask the Supreme Court to review all the prior cases where they were failing, right? And they probably thought like, oh, this is great. We have a Supreme Court that's kind of on our side now. This is amazing. But the Supreme Court just last week or earlier this week decided not to hear the case. So I think they're done. I think the H4 EAD is good to go at this point.
Nice. That's a good news. Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
It'll come to me. No, I think that's mostly it. No other kind of developments on, the new F1 rule, the lottery rule. Like, there's really not much more to talk about there. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, we will get started. Here we go. Is it possible to downgrade I-140 from EB2 to EB3 in premium? EB2 I-140 is already approved long back.
Yes, it is possible.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay. Oops, sorry. With possible Department of labor wage hikes, my employer may not extend my 2027 H1B. If I switch to B1, B2, spend time abroad, not India, then return to wrap up remaining matters, could that pose complications?
I mean, I feel like sometimes people are looking for like a blanket. You're going to be fine, no problems. And in the world of immigration, there are never no problems.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is always this kind of shades of gray you're in. I guess my question is, what kind of complications are you worried about? Are you going to be able to come back into the U.S. on a B1, B2? Anybody who comes in on a B1, B2 is not guaranteed admission, right? You have to be able to show that you're only staying for a short amount of time for a legitimate reason, and that you're going to be leaving in a short amount of time, and what those times are, what the reasons are. You should probably talk to a lawyer about kind of planning for those visits. But it should be, in theory, that's what the visa is about. In practicality, we all know things aren't happening as they should. So.
Yeah. I just posted for everyone who's watching because I saw a bunch of people asking for link for masterclass. So I posted in chat. It's already in description, but also posted in chat.
Well, the thing about the masterclass, I guess the one thing that I forgot to mention at the top of the podcast, Yudi, is so we have kind of just briefly discussed how USCIS has basically said they're going to update the EB1 and EB2 rules like that, and there wasn't quite like any information about what that's going to be. And so there was an article, a Forbes article that was kind of published last week by Stuart Anderson, who's a really good reporter for Forbes, and he's really kind of plugged into the government, and he gets and people leak him information all the time, and he's hearing from a former USCIS senior policy advisor that USCIS may consider increasing the EB1A bar to a minimum 5 criteria, more than 3 out of 10. So now, instead of 3 out of 10, it would be 5 out of 10. This is speculation so far, right? But this is we're hearing rumors that might be where they intend to go. If that were to happen, I think number one, it would take several months for them to implement that rule. And then secondly, I think it would also be challenged in court as exceeding their authority, because they're basically changing materially the kind of like the substance of the EB1A rule, right? From extraordinary to like what, superhuman, right? And they can't change the substance of rules materially, right? Only Congress could do that. So yeah, just as a heads up, this may happen. If it does happen, this may be how it goes. But once again, it kind of underscores the importance of working, not putting off working on building yourself up to an EB1. Do that sooner rather than later. And so to that end, we have a masterclass next week to talk about how to do that.
Nice. Yeah. Yes. Okay. My wife is on F1 STEM OPT, working full-time for a startup. She plans to travel to India and work remotely from there for 1 month. Do you foresee any issues in doing that?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. Yeah. If I switch my company after H1B stamping, do I need to get a new stamp when I travel again?
So you typically do not. You typically H1 stamps are company agnostic, meaning you can use them for different companies so long as you're returning an H1B status with some employer, and so long as the visa is unexpired.
Lots of hi, Yuri and Samir. That's nice.
Hey.
Okay, here we go. Big one. I'm on F1 visa, graduating in December 2025. I will be applying for my initial OPT by this week and planning to travel to India for 4 or 5 days during the last week of November 2025. And program end date is December 13, 2025. Should I travel if my OPT status will be pending? Does my travel impact the application process?
The travel doesn't impact the application process. So I think you should be okay so long as you have all the documents that you know you need to travel with.
Yeah.
I think you should be okay.
Will 100K have to be paid for case of concurrent H1B filing by a second employer after 21st September?
Yeah, like we said earlier, we know nothing more than what everyone seems to know, which is basically nothing, since the proclamation was issued. My guess is no. I don't think it'll have to be paid for concurrent H1B filings. The only kind of like unknown, like the thing we're most unknown about is how to, like if you did a concurrent H1B, then if you're abroad, right, and you come back in, then is that going to impact you, right? I don't think it will. I think this is really when the dust settles. I think it's only going to be for next year's lottery cases, right, for the most part. And so, but that remains to be seen.
Yeah. Okay. I recently graduated and I'm currently on F1 OPT working for the state of Maryland. I wanted to seek your advice regarding a planned 2-week trip to India in December 2025, as I haven't visited since coming to US. Given the current administrative and immigration climate, would you advise someone in my situation to travel internationally at this time?
So if you're on the OPT, I guess I need to know, when does it expire? Are there any other issues? So I would say don't rely only on my answer here to plan to plan your trip, but I could answer generally speaking, based on what you've said, there shouldn't really be any issues, assuming you have a visa stamp already. So I know things seem kind of unpredictable and scary right now, but so long as you're able to check off all the boxes in terms of what you're supposed to have when you travel, I think it should be okay, because I know lots of students are traveling without issue. It's the visa stamping that's an issue, right? It's taking a long time. I'm hearing some people are getting denied because of that social media issue, or just getting stuck in endless 221Gs. So, but if you don't have to go through that, then I think you should be okay.
Yeah. Okay. I just saw some news that pending H1B transfer amendments, etc., get a temporary extension on 60 days grace period. Is that true?
I haven't heard that, but doesn't mean it's not true. This could be in relation to
The shutdown.
the shutdown. Yeah, I mean, I think if there is something in relation to the shutdown, it's going to be a little bit more in detail than this. But yeah, I haven't heard that yet.
Okay. My parents had biometric today in Mumbai. When we filled this DS160, I used to live in Connecticut, but past 6 months I moved in North Carolina. So we updated DS160 form. Today, my father asked to update, but they said you need to do online. Okay, I'm not sure what the question is. Now the interview is on 30th October. Dhruti, maybe rephrase your question. I'm not sure what you're trying to ask. Are you looking up her question?
I am. I'm not looking up her question. I'm looking up the issue about the shutdown, see if there's anything out there.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. But I don't see anything now.
Do you like lawyers have like an internal communication channel? You do?
Yeah, it's called ChatGPT. No, I'm just kidding. We have we have lots of different kind of internal channels that we discuss, pass along news to, and mostly it's not just to be like to hoard it. It's mostly to kind of filter out the real from the irrelevant.
Media.
Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, and often when rules kind of when new rules get sent down, they have to go through certain channels that before it hits the press, and sometimes we're privy to all that.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going on vacation and H1B stamping next week. Can I stay for 31 days or should I shorten the trip? What is safe duration to stay outside the United States? There are rumors that one should not stay more than 4 weeks.
Yeah, that's a rumor. That's completely unsubstantiated. So you shouldn't have any problem. The only tangible example I have of something along those lines is in one place is people traveling, re-entering the U.S. through Abu Dhabi, right, which is a pre-flight clearance. And for some reason, they were penalizing H1B holders for being outside the U.S. for too long. Okay. There's no rule that says you can't be outside the U.S. for a long time on an H1B. You're allowed to. There's no rule for it. For some reason, that particular office was saying that, right? But it doesn't mean that's the rule. It means like they were just messing up.
Okay, wow, big one. I need advice on a medical situation. I have been advised to undergo surgery, and I'm deciding whether to do it in India or US. I'm on OPT, and I'm worried about travel and re-entry issues. Is it okay to travel abroad for medical reasons on OPT? What documents, questions to expect at re-entry? Also, any insights on cost, recovery, care differences? Oh, not insight on the cost recovery, but maybe immigration advice. Sure.
Yeah, I can give some medical advice too while I'm at it. I'm so sorry. You have to go through that. Hope you get better soon. So I would say check with your school on this. I don't have a sense of how long you're going to be out of commission during after the surgery and in post-op and recovery and all that stuff. And whether or not you can travel during that time. I'm not talking about immigration wise. I'm talking medically, right? So I think kind of understand kind of the medical repercussions of travel, how long you have to be there. What if you were to get the surgery done in India, what that means logistically for you, and then check with your school, right? I don't you have to maintain your status, and you have to attend classes and all that stuff. Well, I guess you're an LPT. So I suppose you're okay if you're abroad. It doesn't count towards unemployment if you're abroad and going through a medical procedure. But I guess I want to know, when does your OPT expire? Does the kind of recovery interfere or intersect with that expiration date? All that stuff. So, yeah.
Okay. I-140 approved, but employer not sharing the approval notice because they are worried I might use the priority date for some other employer. How should I tackle this situation?
Unfortunately, there is nothing you can do about it. The I-140 approval is theirs. You could request it in a FOIA, FOIA, to USCIS online, but that might take you a year or more to get. So a FOIA is a Freedom of Information Act request, right? So I'm assuming you want to because you do want to use it for another employer. Which is, you're right. You're allowed to change jobs, but unfortunately, you can't compel them to give it to you. What I would do is, do you have the case number? If you have the case number, you can access the case online. You can see the cases approved, and you can submit that to your future employer. We've used that in the cases of H1B transfers to demonstrate an I-140 approval. Also understand that if you leave your employer within 6 months of the approval, they can revoke it. They can revoke the approval, and you can't use it. So you may want to consider staying there for 180 days, and then it doesn't matter what they do afterwards.
Okay. Wow. For N400 applications, does the USCIS review only at the period from LPR status or further back?
I guess it depends on what you're asking about. If it's for good moral character, it's generally for a 5-year period. Okay, but they can look back further if they want to. If it's for admissibility issues like crimes and other kind of issues about, maybe you're part of a group that's, problematic or things like that, it's lifetime, right? If it's for travel, it's usually within the 5-year period. The maintaining of your residence, maintaining of a physical presence in the U.S. So for most things they review, it's usually the 5-year period preceding your application, also the preceding the interview. But for some things, it's not.
What's LPR?
It's a green card holder, lawful permanent resident.
Oh, got it. Okay.
You are an LPR.
Yeah. Didn't know that's what it was. I just thought it was green card.
You learn something new about yourself every day, don't you?
I do. I'm yet to do my N400. I started though.
That's good.
I'm going on vacation. I think we already covered this one.
Yeah, we did.
Has the government shutdown affected H1B transfer? My H1B is valid through 2028, but was looking to change the job in coming months.
It has, not because you can't file transfers with USCIS. USCIS remains to be open because they are not funded by Congress in the budget. They're funded by filing fees. So they're open. The problem is, like, as part of an H1B, you have to file an LCA with the Department of Labor, and they're closed. So we can't file and submit can't submit LCAs while the government shut down. So we can't file H1Bs as a result. So yeah.
Okay. I am planning to travel to India for my sister's wedding from November 18th to 27th. I guess this is a wedding season, so there's a lot of travel questions because I'm also applying for that. This is my last semester. My I-20 end date is set to December 13th, and my last class is on 6th December, and I've already applied for my OPT. Is this safe to travel or not? I think we kind of covered this, but just different person asking this.
I think we're going to get a lot of these questions, and I'm going to say, just kind of my blanket response is, I don't see any problem with you traveling, but we can't guarantee that nothing's going to happen to you, because things are changing all the time. So you're taking a certain amount of risk, into your own hands if you do travel all the time, no matter what. Okay, so is it safe or is it not? You're not going to get a black or white response to that. That being said, I don't see, I haven't seen any trends of people in similar situations having issues traveling.
Yeah. I think people are worried because it's only 5 days before the last class or
right, but you got an OPT application.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So
yep. I graduated in May 2025 with a master's in aerospace engineering and currently on F1 OPT. I received an internship offer from an NGO, changing the present, but it's not related to my major. Can the internship help stop my EAD clock?
What does changing the present mean?
That's why I was stuck there, because I also don't know what
You're working on a time machine, but that might be related actually to aerospace engineering. So if it's not related to your major, you can't work in it. You're not legally allowed to work on it.
Yeah.
But think about why. Are you sure it's not related? What is related, right? Is there a good argument you can make? Like, look harder into that. I want to go back to the issue about the OPT, like traveling with the pending OPT application, right? I think it's okay, but I do remember a time when, like, if you didn't have the OPT in hand, right, it was causing issues for students. Like, it was a long time ago, right? But if people are traveling with a pending OPT application, what are they planning on returning with? If classes have stopped and they don't have a job and they don't have an OPT, think about how are they going to answer their questions when they come in, right? So what are you going to say when you're like, well, are you working? But you can't work, so, like, how could I admit you if you're not returning to something?
Yeah, like, what is the purpose left?
Right? Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know how to answer the question in that context. There's so many moving parts, right? If the OPT is approved and you have a job, then great. But if you're returning to no OPT card and no job, not great.
Yeah, the only difference in their, like, last two cases that we've seen is they still have 10 days before they finish their last classes. So I'm assuming they have exams or something.
Right, exactly. It all comes down to, are you returning to something that you can say, right? If you're not returning to anything, it's going to be harder.
Yeah.
And once again, we're in shades of gray.
Yeah. Okay. Got an RFE few days ago, H1B with wage level 1 as an architectural designer. They mentioned that needing a bachelor's degree means wage level 2. What are the approval rates for RFE for similar cases?
There's nobody knows what approval rates are for those similar cases. I mean, there's that data doesn't exist because it's too specific. But that's interesting. I've never seen. I've gotten level 1 RFEs before, but I haven't. It's mostly about See, whenever somebody's paid a level 1 salary, I've always seen them contest the complexity of the job. They're like, if they're only getting paid level 1, then it's not really a job worthy of an H1B. That's like the RFEs that I've seen. So for them to say you're actually calculating, the company's actually calculating the wage wrong is a new one. That's interesting. Another reason why we don't know exactly what's going to happen of this. You have to rely. I mean, I can't help you on this one. This is going to be up to your government, your employer's attorney to kind of figure this one out. There's a lot more that goes into wage levels than just your degree. So I'm sure they'll take care of it for you. Yeah.
Okay. A junior asked me about his situation, saying his consultancy did not run his payroll for more than 9 months on STEM OPT and still is not while looking for a job for him.
Ooh.
Future problems and solutions.
Wow, that's a lot of pressure to put on me to find a solution to that one. What is a junior? You mean somebody who's like at the same company, but what does that mean?
Probably like the same university, but a class, they came like 1 year later.
Okay. So if they're not, I guess my question is, are they working? Because you can be, number one, if you're working but not getting paid, then the company's in violation, but not necessarily you. But if you're not working, then you're basically, you're not really employed, right? And then you have the unemployment, kind of the unemployment time issue. So talk to a lawyer, like ASAP.
Yeah. Okay. I have H1B I-797 petition approved in March 2025, applied from India. Also, I have B1, B2 from last 2 years. If I travel on B1, B2, does CBP stop me from having a petition approved H1B not stamped? My employer is saying to wait until next year to come on H1B as job market is not good currently.
Yeah, I mean, you might have issues coming in on the B1, B2 because you remember the part of the proclamation they kind of talked about, watch out for people who use a B1, B2 to circumvent the $100,000 rule. And while you're not circumventing the $100,000 rule, since you already have a petition approved, they're kind of on the lookout for that stuff, right? So if you already have an H1B approved, but you're coming in on B1, B2, it depends, I guess, what you're coming in for. If you can document the reasons for it, like, are you coming in to visit family? Or are you going to Disneyland? Like, document that all, right? If you can convince the officer that you have true tourist intentions, then you might be okay, but it's a little risky.
For STEM candidates who are looking for sponsorship, considering 100K fee as unfavorable case with the employment, which decision do you think is quick and best possible, master's or a PhD program? Like going on another F1, is that the question, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand this question, Yudi.
Yeah. Please rephrase the question. So any updates on F1? Did we hear like the duration of
the No. I think they have received all the comments and now they're reviewing them and doing their thing. So no updates yet.
Okay. My daughter is US citizen, but me and my wife on H1, H4 first year. Can we apply employment-based green card or wait for 2 years and apply family green card?
Well, you've admitted the most important part is how old is your daughter?
And why does that matter? I mean,
because if she's 21, she can sponsor them for green cards. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Could you talk about today's update by USCIS on H1B process?
How do I not know this? I can't because I don't know what the update is.
Yeah. It may have come when we were doing this.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm on F1 OPT, and if my employer doesn't care where I work from, at least until Jan 2026, is it okay to work from India for a few months?
I think it's okay, but think about, what is it going to be like coming back in, right?
Mm.
What have you been doing? You're not working for your job? Like, what's happening? Like, did you lose your job? Are you not working for them anymore? We don't want to let you in anymore. So there's no yes or no, kind of black or white kind of answer to your question. It's the longer you are out, and I don't know what that time is, the more eyebrows, the more questions it'll raise. So just think about it that way.
I guess he did retype the question later on. 19 years old.
There we
That's
go.
fine
There
with
you
2 years. Should they wait for 2 years or should they start their employment green card?
I mean, I don't know what you should do because I don't know anything about, how long an employment-based green card will take for you. I'm assuming it'll take longer than 2 years. So if your daughter is a U.S. citizen at 19, then I would probably just wait for her to become 21 and adjust that way. That's a pretty easy process.
And faster, I'm assuming, than employment.
Yeah, it takes about a year or so.
Yeah. Okay. If one will be working from home during 1 month of vacation, is it okay to tell regarding work from home if counselor asks during stamping or CBP asks during re-entry?
How can you be working from home during vacation?
Yeah. Is that what they would be asking?
Well, that's what I'm asking. I don't understand the question. It's inherently contradictory. Are you on vacation or are you working? So I
Or
just don't know
why
how
do you
to.
want to work while you're on vacation, I guess? I mean, but yeah. Okay.
I mean, as opposed to working from the office. Like, I guess I don't understand what the concern is, right?
Yeah.
Um,
On initial OPT with a company, can I work unpaid on another business idea with a US citizen on my free time, or must I report if it is no income yet?
no, you're pretty much allowed to do whatever you want work-wise on your initial LPT. Check with your school to see if you have to report it. But whether you have to report it is not about income. It's just about what are you doing, right? But you should be okay to, even if you have to report it, you should be okay to do it.
But yeah, I mean, even if you answered it second, because if I was like just playing around with AI tools to make something, like, do I have to report that if I'm?
Yeah, is it work, right? I mean, working, on a business idea, just like, you're after work, you go have a few beers and you're talking about like, ideas about how to start a company, like, and maybe just going home and,
Doing some market research,
yeah, or market research and kind of building some like experimental, developing some experimental code and kind of seeing if it'll work. Because that's not work. That's just like research.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm on L1B currently in United States. If I plan to file H1B next year, would my employer have to pay 100K?
I think you would be in the class of people that are subject to the 100K rule. Yeah.
Okay. My H1B got renewal as well as amendment of location. Wait, what? I don't understand the question. Okay. I'm a student at Harrisburg University planning a 2-month authorized break to visit India after my third semester. No on full record. Is it safe to travel and re-enter United States? Assuming he's on F1 visa.
Yeah, you're on F1 visa. You have an authorized break. So I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be safe for you unless, like I said before, you can never predict what's going to happen. What if they hate CPT? I bet you're on CPT, I think, I'd imagine. What if they hate CPT between now and then? I can't predict that. But based on what you're saying, I don't see any reason why you'd have any issues.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Is there any clarification on applying for change of status within USA from an approved I-797B in 2024 to H1B in December 2025? Will the 100K fee apply if we travel to India at any point after that?
What does that mean from an approved I-797B in 2024? We just need more information. What was the status of that I-797B? And what is your status now?
Yeah, Vishnu, maybe you can type
Mhm.
that. Okay. I'm on F1 OPT and my EAD ends on February 2026. I lost my job a week ago. Do you have any suggestion on how can I apply for STEM extension, or the only choice is to get a job?
Yeah, I mean, you have to have a job to apply for STEM OPT extension because you need the information about the employer, and they have to explain your training program. So that would be your only
Choice.
choice. Yeah.
Okay. Currently pending change of status to H4 after job loss in August. If RFE comes regarding last working day with old employer, what proofs do we need typically? Do they look for anything other than pay stubs?
Just pay stubs. You can have a letter if you'd like. The reason they ask for that information is you're changing status, right? So they want to see you're maintaining status. You have to be in status to change status, right? So they want to see at the time you filing the change of status, were you in status, right? So a pay stub is the best way to do that. You can also get a letter from the employer clarifying your termination date.
Okay. My priority date is February 2015 in EB3. Do you think filing date will come before October 2027?
No. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's 2 years from now. EB3 2015, I don't think it's going to become before 2037, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I checked my profile as it shows as case filed with USCIS is in progress, and I came across a cover letter and support letter which shows date 19 September. This mean as a petition is filed or what?
What are you trying to find out when your case is filed? No, the date on the cover letter is not going to be the date that's filed. Not always. It may be close to it. Check the receipt notice. Look for your receipt notice that has a date of filing on it.
Have my H1 stamping this Friday. From what I've seen, everyone is doing fine with stamping. Fingers crossed, it should be same for me. Well, good
Great,
luck.
thank you.
Yeah. My family is our US citizen. Can that affect my re-entry to United States?
There's a lot of people expecting some mind reading to be happening today. What is your status?
No, he asked the 2-month break from Harrisburg University.
Oh, okay. This is the same person as the 2-month break person?
Yeah. So
oh, okay. Thank you. Sorry about that.
F1 Harrisburg University approved 2 months break, and wants to come back.
What is family like, meaning sisters, cousins? I guess it depends on what.
Yeah.
Maybe you can let us know, and we can let you know.
Yeah. Can you please provide an update on the change of status process from F1 STEM OPT to H1B CAP exam within US? I am currently in the final year of my STEM OPT.
Yeah, the employer can file for that in the US at any time of the year, assuming that they're a CAP exempt entity, right? The problem is that because it's a petition filed after September 20th, it's arguably subject to the $100,000 rule. But there currently is no mechanism to pay that rule. So as long as you don't travel and re-enter after it's approved, I think they can go ahead and file it, and I think you can begin working on it. I just don't know what it means for the future, especially for travel and re-entry.
My H1B got renewed on 22nd September, as well as amendment has been done for location change with the same employer, and I need to travel to India, but my employer is advising me not to travel. Is it because of 100K?
Yeah, that's because we don't know. Like, we don't have any guidance on whether or not your post 9/20 filing is going to be subject. to the 100K rule if you were to travel, right? Remember, this is kind of a travel ban. It's a ban on those entering without the $100,000 fee. So of course they're going to tell you that, because like they don't want something to happen to you, and after they said there's no problem, because we don't know if there's no problem or not. So you travel at your own risk.
Yeah. Is working remotely from outside US in Canada okay while working for US employer on H1? I want to use recapture time in future till I-140 is approved.
Yeah, yes. I guess the answer is, if you're abroad working for the US employer on the H1, you can use that as recapture time until the I-140 is approved. Okay. Whether you can do that in Canada depends on if you have permission to work there, which I'm sure you're looking into. You already have that answer, but those are two separate issues.
Framing the question, yes, my mom and sister is US.
Mom and sister. Wow. How did that happen? Oh, I can see how that happened. You must have aged out before you could have fit under your parents' green card. That's a bummer. I think that should be okay. I don't think that, because there's really nothing they can do to sponsor you for the most part for a green card. So I don't think it's gonna see the government's worried about, like, are you going to come in on an F1 but then turn around and get sponsored for a green card by the US citizen, like a spouse, right? But in this case, they can't do that. So I don't think it's a kind of relationship that will impact your ability to come into the US.
Yeah. Thank you for answering my question on family-based green card for my daughter, 19 years old. My son, Indian, is 16 now. Will he get green card along with us?
No, I don't think so. No, because I don't believe so. But I would check with actually, I don't know. I don't think so, but I would recommend you check with a family-based immigration lawyer on that one, because those are slightly complicated rules.
Okay. Just got my H1B and my husband is on F1 STEM OPT. Should I be looking to move him to H4? If yes, how long does the H4 process take and how soon can he start working? Ooh.
Okay, so you got the H1B, husband's on OPT. I guess why do you want to? First of all, you have to have an I-140 approved.
Yeah.
And I guess secondly, why do you want to do that? If he's on STEM OPT, you could, but the process takes at least 6 months. So maybe it's something you do now, kind of preemptively, in anticipation of the STEM OPT expiration, or because one reason to do it would be, like, what if you get laid off on STEM OPT, right? Then you can switch to H4. So it kind of depends on what your motivations are.
Yeah. Okay. On STEM OPT, applying for change of status now within USA from an approved I-797B in 2024 to H1B. Will 100K apply if we travel to India at any point after?
This is the same question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I guess I need to know, what is the approved I-797B for? What kind of visa and what status are you in now?
Yeah. Okay. I'm on F1 OPT, ends on February 6th. My employer will sponsor me. My employer asking me to travel Europe for work, short work, and I'm planning to India after that in December. Am I good to travel or should I avoid?
I mean, same as usual. I don't see anything here that would lead me to believe you should not travel.
Yep. Currently on H1B grace period, found new job but transfer pending due to shutdown. Any troubles at border if my parents visit me on B2 visa when I am on/out of grace period but B2 change of status applied?
Whoa, these are two separate things.
Yeah.
If your parents are coming on a B2, it has nothing to do with your transfer pending, even if you're in or out of the grace period.
Yeah. If my employer wants to sponsor and I have no plan to travel in future, do the employer still have to pay 100K?
We don't know. I mean, like I said, there's no way to pay it right now, right? So, as for the future, we don't know because there's no guidance yet.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I do have the case number and I can see the status, but was unsure if my other employer can use that screenshot for my green card. I-140 approval is for the future employer. Can they still cancel before start?
They can only cancel it if you leave within 180 days of the I-140 approval.
Mm.
And then after that, it doesn't matter what you do. You can leave, and that is your priority date to use for future green card purposes or for H1B extensions.
Mm.
And it should be okay to use, if you have the case number, then you can give that to USCIS and they can look it up on their end.
Okay. If my parents, brother, accompany to go together at port of entry, will that be okay? I'll be on H1, brother H1, and parents B1, B2, or should we enter separately?
I mean, there's no right or wrong answer here. If I were you, I would think it's fine so long as like it's the B1, B2 that you just want to make sure you explain to them what the purpose of their trip is, and they have a round trip ticket and they plan to, do this and that, and they're going to leave. And so as long as you can confirm that your travel is temporary, it shouldn't be an issue.
Is it permissible for me to work remotely from India while maintaining my F1 OPT status? If so, is there a specific limit on how long I can work from outside the United States?
We're getting a lot of these questions today.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Yeah. I guess everyone is supposed to go for December travel, probably, is my guess.
Yeah, so there's no specific limit. I think what I said earlier here was the longer you're out, I mean, if it's just for like a few weeks, maybe a month, okay. Anything longer than that, it's like they may not, but they may start questioning, well, what are you doing? Are you really working for the company or are you not? Because you've been out of the US for 2 months, you're not working for them for 2 months, and who's able to not work for their company for 2 months straight out of school, right? So they may question, you're just raising kind of doubts in the minds of government officers the longer you're out. So just be aware of that.
Please reconfirm and clear out the confusion. Does the 100K fees apply for change of status from F1 to H1 without traveling?
Clear it out. Just to clear out all confusion. I don't know why I didn't do that before. I can't clear out the confusion. Right now, it does not apply because there's no way to pay the fee. It's not my fault. There's confusion. It's the president's fault because he issued a very confusing proclamation that actually does not have any semblance to how this process works. That's why we're all confused, right? But my feeling is that if you do an F1 to H1B, so basically a lottery case next year, right? I think the intention was to require payment of the $100,000 fee with a petition next year. I think that was the intention, regardless of whether you travel or not. So in that particular case, I think there might be a fee, right? But that's in the future. That's like not till next April. So
yeah. If someone wants to pursue masters under STEM OPT, will the new H1B rule affect job market, and will the person come under the new H1B rule?
I guess I don't understand. How do you pursue a master's under STEM OPT?
I'm assuming like STEM masters, which is under STEM category, is what he's saying.
Oh, under the STEM category? Still, it's a very difficult. I'm having a difficult time understanding what this question is.
Yeah, I think again, we don't have the like he's saying. If I pursue masters under STEM degree, which will have OPT plus 3 years, will the new H1B rule affect him.
Well, I guess which H1B rule? Is it the wage lottery rule or the $100,000 rule?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I
there's
guess
just not a lot of information here. Maybe if you can try to be more specific with your concern, we can try to
yes.
answer.
Yeah. What if the CBP officer asks parents about my status or what am I doing in United States? What if my H1B is revoked and I'm on pending B2 unemployed waiting?
Yeah, my experience is like they never go that far deep in that line of questioning. Like they don't have access to that information. Like you're hyper focused on my status and I'm in the grace period and all eyes are watching me. Meanwhile, they're just like they're dealing with thousands of visitors at the airport every day, and they don't even have access to where your H1B is, nor do they really care. What they're focused in on is what is the intent of the people who are right in front of them, right? What are they doing? Are they going to be are they going to be a risk to overstay? Like that's what they're thinking. They're not thinking about you, nor do they really care. And nor do your parents have to bring it up. Like, are they going to say, "I'm visiting my son who's on an H1B, but he was just laid off. Now he's in a layoff or a grace period, and now he's if your parents offer that information, of course they're going to look into it. Why would they ever do that? They don't need to.
But
Right?
I guess
It's irrelevant.
he's also asked, I'm assuming he's saying like, if they say I'm visiting my son, and then if they ask like, what does your son do? That's where he's probably asking that.
He's a software engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I file my H1B from my company's Tennessee location to qualify for level 4 wages while living in Seattle? And if so, how long must I stay there? And can I return to Seattle after approval?
Wow. Questions today are like bending my brain. These are good. File my H1B from the company's Tennessee location to qualify for the level 4 wage while living in Seattle. And if so, how long must I stay there and can I return to Seattle after approval? If you're reading the question that you asked, do you know the answer to it now? Like, do you think the government will be okay with that? Like, if you do it? Like, inject a little bit of common sense into what your plans are. Like, we're not messing around with immigration, okay? You should be telling the truth and doing things in the truthful, ethical way, because they're coming down on people who are being ethical, much less, of course, they're coming down on those that are not, right? Like, so why would you want to subject yourself to additional scrutiny, enforcement, all the bad things that can happen by doing something like this, right? Secondly, your employer will never do it because your LCA, your H1B covers where you're working for 3 years. Like, they're the ones who are going to get in trouble if you do that, because they're misreporting your job location and the wage conditions, right? Think about the H1B. People are giving the H1B a hard time, right? Because they're saying it's depressing U.S. wages, right? So if a company is like purposefully deflating your wage, but because they're saying you're working in one location, but you're really living in another, how do you think that's going to fly, right? So I think you know the answer to that question.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Last 2 questions, or maybe a couple more. But H1B approved, traveling to India for 6 weeks, will be working remotely for 2 weeks. Is it safe to mention to officer or at port of entry about working remotely? Interesting, the patterns of the questions.
It's a travel, so everyone's going to be out of the U.S. for a while, right? So, I mean, I think you're right about that. So, H1B approved. I think you're assuming you're on the H1B right now, Rashmi. You're going to India for 6 weeks, which is awesome. Working remotely for 2 weeks. Yeah, I mean, that's not a big deal. I wouldn't worry too much about that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm on post OPT. My employer was ready to sponsor my H1B, but is now unsure if they need to pay 100K. So, do they need to pay?
Samir, why aren't you giving us clarity that nobody else in the country has? In theory, this is for the lottery for next year. So in theory, I mean, I'm telling my clients, you, as the rule stands right now, you probably will have to pay, but we just don't know how that's going to work. There's so many kind of unknowns between here and there. You understand? But yes, I'm advising my corporate clients that you'll likely have to pay, and now's a good time to look at alternatives for an H1B like an O1. Attend our masterclass next week.
Yeah. Okay. Should I travel or avoid in December? Didn't understand. F1 OPT initial end in February. Anything to keep in mind if I'm traveling? Work to Europe, and then India.
So I guess I remember your question. So in theory, like I don't see a problem with what you're doing, right? You're coming back to F1 OPT employment, right? You're coming back before February, right? You're just traveling in December. You're coming back. You have 2 months of OPT time, the same employer. I'm assuming you're applying for STEM OPT as well, right? So I don't see any reason why you shouldn't travel. Just make sure you follow all the directions instructions from your school that you know of all the documentation you have to have when you travel, like a visa stamp, passport, and a travel endorsed I-20, right? Letter from your employer, just showing that you're employed with them, pay stubs to show that you're maintaining status.
Yeah. Okay. US immigration rules do not apply outside United States. I worked remotely for 3 years in Canada on H1. I maintained a US address and nothing happened ever.
The first two sentences contradict each other. I just want to point that out. If U.S. immigration rules do not apply, how can you be outside in Canada on an H1? But I know what you mean. Okay, so what is the question now? Is that
just stating there's no follow-up, but I mean, he's just
well, I mean, this is a good point though, because there's a lot of like, oh, you can't be out of the U.S. for more than X amount of time on an H1B, and David is confirming exactly what I've been saying. Like I've had clients who have been based abroad and only come in intermittently on the H1B, and that's in theory fine. You can do that, right? But the question is not so much about what you're allowed to do when you're abroad, David. It's then can you come in? Because that's when U.S. immigration rules do apply, and that's what people are worried about.
Yeah. All right. Got picked in H1B through other employer. They filed petition, and in September, I asked them to withdraw because of XXX reason. Now I want to refile the petition. Can I do that by that same employer?
All right, let me get through this one more time. Picked in H1B through another employer. They filed a petition in September, asked them to withdraw it. Okay. So if they withdrew the H1B petition, you never worked for them in October, you have to go through the lottery again, unfortunately, because you never activated the H1B that you were picked for.
But they can do that. It looks like that's what he's asking. If I want to refile the...
Well, he's asking if I can refile the petition that I already got picked in the lottery for. The answer is you have to go through the lottery again. Because you never activated it.
Yeah, makes sense.
Especially if they withdrew it.
Yeah.
So if they didn't withdraw it, then you might be able to get away with
using the same. Yeah. Got it. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. Again, next week is going to be our masterclass. I am posting the link one more time. See you there. We already have 300 people here. So hopefully see you all next week, Tuesday.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Amir. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.